Welcome to the first episode of the EarningsBoard Report. This is a podcast where we take a deep dive on our website and various investors. Today, we are so excited to have the third highest ranked investor, StealYoGirlTed from Twitter. This legend is known for his incredible TED Talks where he researches a stock and posts his findings. This strategy has led him to pick numerous stocks that have doubled, including XSPA and AVCT. How are you doing today, Ted?
I'm doing great. Great day today. I'm ready for this interview. I'm really excited to be here.
So, can you confirm the suspicion that you are indeed a woman?
No, man, I'm sorry. I can't keep it up any longer. Yeah, this is the real Thick Teddy voice reveal. So yeah,
We're
I'm really
giving the
excited to
viewers
be
what
here.
they want.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm excited to be here though. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah. Today we're also joined by my co-host Ethan, and
So,
my name is Matthew. So let's get into questions. So you've had your Twitter for a few months now, but why did you start posting your pics?
So to be completely honest, when I first started trading, a year or two back, I was really against the Twitter realm and Twitter traders and social media traders in general. And the reason for that was I saw a lot of them who were kind of preying on the uneducated and preying on the people who were willing to follow them into calls. And I was not wanting to be any part of that. But then I saw some good ones emerge. I'll name drop Zach Morris. I saw them really start to want to help the people and help the traders that were following them. And I thought it was really cool that I saw people saying, wow, you paid for my college, you paid my bills this month, you've given me knowledge to find financial freedom. And I was doing pretty well by that point. I started off not doing so well, but I was doing pretty well at that point in my small caps trading. And so I decided, why don't I post some of my DD? Why don't I post some of my thoughts and opinions on here and just see where it goes? And here we are today.
I mean, yeah, it's really gone far. Congratulations on getting 9K followers just this morning, I believe.
Oh,
It's really
thank
awesome.
you. I'm excited about it. It's a lot more people are growing, joining the I guess the Slappy Squad is what some people call it. But um, yeah, it's cool. I'm just happy to have so many people making money with us.
Yeah. To be
so,
honest, yeah, go ahead, Ethan.
so as you could have probably already, have told, uh, Matthew here's a bit of a fanboy of you, right? He, you were actually the first person that he told me to look up when he thought about this idea. You were the first person in our database. You held first for a pretty long time in our database too, before release.
Woohoo!
And just he talks about you a lot. He says he trusts
Oh
you the
my.
most.
Okay. You can stop. You can
Do you have
stop.
You want a date? Do you want a date?
He's like he simps over you on a daily basis. Any chance he gets, he goes, "Steal your girl,
Well,
Ted."
I
Posted
guess I'm
this.
not stealing
Well,
any girls now. I'm stealing Matthew. I
oh
guess.
my. Well, I
Do you
mean,
guys have any comments on that?
I wouldn't call myself a fanboy, but all I can say is that I like making money. Everybody likes making money, and you're definitely a way to make money. So, yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much. That's what I like to hear. And I mean, I like to think that I keep it pretty real, and people appreciate that too. So thank you.
Okay. Let's get into some actual questions.
Okay.
So a lot of traders in this market talk about day trades and swing trades, but I kind of want to know if you have a favorite stock, a long-term stock that you could just put some money into, and then you know that it will consistently grow.
So I have a long-term portfolio. I don't look at it very often, and I'll be honest, it contains a lot of things that are like blue chips. It contains a lot of Microsoft, a lot of Google's, a lot of those types of things that I know I'm going to get a steady gain with the tech going up. And I also throw in some of my long-term swings in there, and those are the ones that really grow that account, in my opinion. So one, for example, I had SPAC in there for a long time, or not SPAC, VTIQ in there for a long time, and that grew to Nicola, and I took profit when it went up. I'd had it for 6 months, so in my opinion, I'd consider that a long swing in my portfolio. And building off of that, another one that I've added recently for a longer swing or a long term would be SPAC, SPAQ. I'm sure you've seen some hype on it on
Oh yeah,
Twitter
of
and all
course.
over social media, but I love it for the long term, for them merging and them starting production of their new cars. They actually have prototypes out and everything, which is more than some other companies can say. So I definitely love that one in my long portfolio. I got a couple more. Um, VTGN. I've just recently put it out on my Twitter DD. It's a company that's coming out with a anti-anxiety on-demand treatment, a nasal spray, and working in the mental health field, um, it's going to be huge. If they get FDA approved, which they've met with the FDA, and it's been, um, they finished on good terms and like they came to some conclusions that were big. If it gets FDA approved, that's going to be a household name in my opinion, at least. So I'm putting that in my long term so that when they get FDA approved, I'm not going to sell a bit. I'm going to wait for production. I'm going to wait for them to actually get revenue numbers out. That's in my long term too. And the last one is AVCT. You guys will probably hear about it during this podcast. I'm going to go on a 25-minute rant about it, but you'll hear about that one. I love that one.
Sounds good. Sounds good. I know at the earnings board, we really like a C limited ticker SE for a
Yeah.
longer term play. And then up until a few months ago, we were also really big into Tesla, but we uh we sold that position.
Yeah,
Okay.
Tesla's a good one, that's for sure.
So
Yeah.
with all these swings you do on a daily basis, there's a lot of, it's like high risk, high reward, right, with your money. So
Yep.
would you consider yourself a more risky investor, or do you like to play it safe?
So I was thinking about the whole market, and if I'm risky comparative to the whole market, I'm gonna say yes, completely, because I'm a small cap trader. I'm someone who finds undervalued stocks that other people would consider extremely high risk. In the penny trading world, I would consider myself probably not as risky as a lot of the traders out there. I keep a diversified portfolio, which I think is really important to managing your risks. I watch my stocks, watch the price action, make sure that if I'm seeing a steady downtrend and it's about to break a support, I'm watching that and I'm making sure that I'm not gonna overextend my risk and end up down 20% instead of cutting it down 4%, 5%, 6% type of thing. There's a lot of traders out there that I've met, a lot of friends that I have, a lot of people that I've communicated with, also where they prefer to put all their money into one play, two plays. And can that make you money? Yes. But is that riskier than all hell? Yeah, that is gonna burn you alive eventually. So in my opinion, diversification is a big aspect to why I'm not as risky as some of the penny traders. But I know most of the educated small cap traders out there know that as well. So yeah, I'd say I'm not that risky in the penny trading game, but I am in the whole market.
Yeah, definitely. We were actually thinking of ranking some people from Wall Street Bets, the Reddit page, just to see how risky they are, and it's kind of insane, right? Like
I've
Wall Street
I've
Bets is
traversed over
known,
there.
yeah, is known for being like the riskiest people ever. Like one day they can go up 50% on their portfolio, and the next day they lose the whole thing. And I
I've
think
looked
it's
on there maybe two or three times, and the amount of options that they throw around on there made me like bend over and cringe. Like it was like options can make you a ton of money, but the ones they were throwing around, I was like, you're gambling on the future right now. Like you're saying I got a crystal ball in my back pocket. Like how? How are you so confident to put 10 grand on something like that? That's just crazy.
absolutely, yeah. So a lot of investors, especially on Twitter and Reddit, they talk about their biggest gains, right? They're like, "Oh, I chose 10 stocks and this one 2x'd." But what they really don't talk about is their biggest loss. So that's kind of that's what I want to ask you about. What was your biggest loss and how did you handle it?
So my biggest loss came about it was early summer. It was Minlo or MNLO. Um I expected good FDA approval from it, and it did get the FDA approval. It got FDA approval a little bit early. There wasn't enough people in the stock. There wasn't enough people expecting it that day, and it kind of just went up about 10-15% and then just kind of plateaued and took an absolute dump throughout the next few weeks, and I ended up bag holding big time. I believe I was down, I don't know when I cut losses, I was down a good percentage. It was one of those situations where all the news was right, everything felt right, the timing wasn't right, and that just it taught me the lesson that the timing has to be right, the timing has to line up for me, for the PR, for the news, for the price action, for the chart. Everything has to line up for us to get a perfect play out of it, and it just didn't line up, ended up bleeding me out, and I lost more than I'd like to think about.
Yeah, that's one of the, I would say, one of the most important things in investing. Like, being good at picking stocks, like that's also a very important aspect. But what people don't think about a lot is managing your risks and knowing when it's a good time to sell and stop bag holding so you can move into other positions.
Exactly, make up that loss during the time that you could have bag held it.
Yeah. So let's talk about one of your biggest gains, right? And you've already mentioned it, AVCT.
Oh man.
Yeah. Can you just walk us through the process of you initially picking that stock and then you choosing when to sell it or if you continue to hold?
Yeah, so first off, I just want to say I love you, AVCT. You are my girlfriend away from my girlfriend. Um, I spend more time thinking about
Simp.
AVCT than I spend thinking about anything else right now. I'm not gonna lie. Um, so the process that I went through to pick AVCT, so it popped on my scanner early June for abnormal volume, and I kind of looked at it. I was like, American Virtual Cloud Technologies, it was a SPAC. It dropped completely to $2 and something. Like, why does it have this abnormal volume? And then I saw that people were on social media hyping it up for having earnings the next day, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna give it a quick look at. And then I ended up spending hours and hours reading about all their SEC filings, all of their investor presentations, all of their Computex, which is the company they acquired. I ended up reading all about them too. And I found out pretty much that it was grossly undervalued at that point, just completely criminally undervalued. And it wasn't even based on like a speculation. It was based on solid numbers that I could find in the past, solid numbers that I could find from their management, and solid numbers I could find in contracts and relations. And then there was about a week window. I harassed their investor relations, tried to get a little more numbers out of them, tried to get a little more insight out of them. I saw insider buys were up on the year. I saw just a ton of things, low float that I loved. And that led me to making a TED talk on it, getting it out there. And then the next day, I believe after my TED talk got out there, it went $2 to $6 immediately, just the next day. And that was my first real big gainer as Thick Teddy on Twitter. And at that point, I kind of got out of the stock. I was completely just okay with it because I was like, man, this is my first big Twitter gainer. I'm just gonna kind of leave it. I don't want to overextend myself, try to get more out of it than I need to. And then about, I would say, 3 weeks, a month ago, I revisited it, and I just can't get over how undervalued it is, man. There's just so much growth for it to have, so much potential for the AT&T partnership bundle that they have, so much growth potential for the company that they're buying out in Candy Communications, for them to still be a $6.60 stock like they're trading right now, for them to have a market cap of 133 million. Absolutely insane to me.
Yeah, I know that everybody here, we've been looking at AVCT for a long time as well. And I think we've actually held quite a few shares um, since a little bit before the original pop. One of the things I wanted to mention was on your Twitter, the amazing feeling when you post it one day and it just pops the next day. Like it feels
Exactly.
it feels okay when you post something and it takes like 2 weeks or maybe a month for it to go for it to
Yeah.
rocket. But the very next day, that is just a feeling that is amazing.
Yeah, it's awesome. Like we've had VTGN the last, I think maybe it was 2 days or 3 days in between, but we bought in and then got 25-30% like 2 days afterwards, and that was great too. It is completely different when you feel like you just looked into the future and said, well, in 3 days this stock is going 20%. It feels wonderful.
Yeah, of course. So, like, we all want to know how you invest and stuff, but another question that I know we all have is how did you get your name?
Okay, this is quite the story actually. Um, so last summer, when I began dating my girlfriend, we were about, oh, that's how you know a story is gonna gonna turn out good. So we were about a week to 2 weeks into dating, and I was coming back from a long day. Um, Sometimes I would paint houses for a side gig, make a little extra money, add to my portfolio type of thing. And I was coming back from a long day of painting houses, and we were just hanging out in her bed. This is a week, just to remind you, a week or two into us talking, dating, anything. So we weren't quite like 100% comfortable yet. We were still getting to know each other. And she turns on Bob's Burgers, and I've never seen it before. And Teddy comes on, and I cannot stop laughing at every single thing he's saying and the way he's saying it. I just can't get over it. And it gets to the point where the other person's only laughing because you're laughing so hard, and I started to get embarrassed. I was like, "Oh man, I can't stop laughing." And then lo and behold, I fucking fart. A week into us talking, I just fucking fart, and all the humor left my body in that moment. It wasn't funny to me anymore. I was just, oh man. And for about 2 weeks, we didn't talk about it at all. And then we brought it up one day, and it's been a joke ever since. But so that's where Teddy came from. And then the thick came from, I think it was just something we threw on there just to be a little funnier too. But that's where the name originated.
I mean, that's how you know it's a good name, right?
You know,
Exactly.
Matthew ripped a pretty fat one back before we started
Oh
filming
my-
too.
Did the mic pick it up?
Okay.
I might have to cut it in.
Oh my, okay.
So,
Well,
you have I heard you had like a pretty big challenge going on. Was it? Can you tell us about your $500 to 25K challenge?
Oh yeah, so yeah, I started it about a month ago. I was just kind of looking around Twitter traders, seeing what they were doing, and I saw a couple guys. I can't really remember the name for some reason. I saw a couple guys who were doing this $500 to 25K challenge, and it just seemed really cool to me to kind of be able to identify with the people who are starting with smaller accounts, are starting with 200, 400, $600, who don't want to wage very much money in the market. And so about a month ago, I was on vacation. I was thinking, what can I do to spice things up? And I was like, man, a small account, trying to grow it to 25K day trading would be, or be able to day trade at 25K would be super cool. Show people that they can do it. Show people that if they get enough knowledge, they learn enough things, that they'll be able to make it there. And that's kind of where it was born. And since then, I've gone from 500 to 1450, a big chunk of that from AVCT. But so it's rolling pretty nice. And my goal is to do it by the end of the year. Pretty lofty goal, but that's what I want to do.
that would be an absolutely insane return. When I've looked at that challenge so many times, and I I 100% thought it was $500 to 5K challenge because I couldn't imagine you trying to do 25K. But
Yeah, it's a lofty
that's
goal, man,
insane.
but I want to get there.
If Well, I mean, all the best luck to you on getting that return percentage. I mean, if we could get that return percentage, then I know I wouldn't be making podcasts. So I would own my own island.
I know if I could get that on my big portfolio, then I wouldn't be having a Twitter at all. I'd be owning Twitter. No, but I don't have. But I wanted to address. I've had a lot of questions about how I run that challenge account since I've already had a pretty decent return. So if you guys are cool with it, I'm just
Oh
gonna
yeah,
kind
for
of give
sure.
a quick run over.
Yeah,
Um,
you can
so
go
I
ahead.
started at the $500, and my plan then was to only have four stocks, $125 each, and I would just kind of buy dips on stocks that I was 100% certain had a catalyst within the next week to within the next few days. So, for example, at the beginning, I knew HMHC would have catalysts coming out with schools closing, schools going hybrid, schools going online. So I would try to snag a limit order dip as low as I possibly could, and then within 1 minute I'd be up 3%. And then when the catalyst would hit, I'd already have a little jump start on that so that I could get an extra couple dollars here and there. And I did that for a while. And now I'm up to 6 stocks at a time. So I've just kind of slowly been growing the amount of swings I have in it. And now I have different like confidence in each stock. So when AVCT, when it hit, I had an $800 portfolio, but I had 500 of it in AVCT because I kind of grew a little bit, and I was like, okay, I'm ready to kind of have some confidence in a stock and put a little more money of it, allocate a little more percentage of it to it, and that grew my portfolio quite a bit, gave me quite a bit of a jump start. So for anyone who's wondering, that's how I've done it so far.
Yeah, that's really amazing. I really like the format of it because it shows that anyone, no matter how much money they really have, can grow into a huge amount of money.
Exactly. That's my main goal as Stick Teddy is to make sure
Yeah,
that everyone knows that like you can do it. You can turn that $200 into 2 grand. You
yeah.
can do it.
Investing isn't just for Wall Street people. I mean,
Exactly.
even if you have a crappy Robinhood account, you can still throw some money into
Exactly.
it and buy some Chipotle every now and then.
Exactly.
So, with that in mind, are there any sectors of the market that you like better than others, like technology or pharmaceuticals?
I'll be honest, not really. I have knowledge about most of them, not anything crazy. Like I don't have a specialty like some of the traders on social media. I will trade anything. I'll make sure to do a lot of research before if it's a sector that I have not traded as much. I'm willing to trade whatever is hot, but with that said, I take an extra look at every single bio, every single pharmaceutical trade that I'm going to make because I've gotten burned a couple more times with bio plays, mostly due to the fact that in penny stocks, there are a ton of bio that will do things that other companies will not, as in drop an offering after great news that you don't get as often in other sectors, or saying things to influence their price and then maybe them not following through to the degree that they said. And I've just found that this is more prominent in bio. And I found that there's more companies that are willing to kind of go off of their script in bio just to get their company a little bit of a oomph. So I do an extra look and I harass that investor relations a little bit extra if it's a bio play. But other than that, I'm willing to kind of jump into anything if it's hot.
Yeah, I agree. Those companies, they have half of the company is developing their product, and then half of it I feel like is just selling to investors and just spewing out as much bullshit as they can.
Exactly. A PR will come out and it'll be half of
Yeah,
what they said.
yeah, definitely. So we've seen a huge increase in the number of traders with penny stocks and day traders and swing traders. A lot of it's due to the COVID-19 virus and the volatility that the market has because of it. But with the virus looks like it's going to be gone at in as little as 3 months due to potential vaccines and other things like that. How do you see the overall trend of penny stocks?
So for penny stocks, I think that we'll see some different sectors act differently than others. I think that with COVID potentially dying out within the next few months, I think that there'll be news increments that will probably impact certain sectors. For example, I think vaccine news, like we saw today with the Russian vaccine news coming out and all of the bio and vaccine plays dipping, I think we'll see that hugely when an actual vaccine comes out, whether it's from Moderna or whoever it is. I think we'll see a huge sell off in the bio, and a lot of them will be proven to be overextended because people are hoping that my penny stock makes that vaccine when in reality it's probably going to be one of the big boys, or one of the big boys is going to buy out the little boy, and your other little boy isn't quite going to be I guess, or your other little penny stock isn't quite going to be able to keep the price action that it's having during this high bio time. But with that said, I think overall the penny stock market will not see any extreme changes. I think that there'll be small changes and slow changes that us traders will be able to adapt to. I think there will be different trading strategies that prove effective um, after COVID that weren't effective during COVID, and vice versa. But I think there will not be any extreme trends that we notice except for the slow outflow of the Robinhood stimulus money millennial traders as school starts, as work goes back. But I do not think that that will have a crazy effect on penny stocks, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. Um, but anything related to COVID right now is just getting hyped out of the water, and its stock prices just booming. You just have to be really
Exactly.
careful with those types of stocks and holding them long term. I mean, if it's
Exactly.
yeah,
If you're holding a vaccine play, you need to be careful right now because
yeah,
once any
definitely.
big approval comes out or once any big fast track news comes out, um, yeah, it's gonna tank quite a bit.
Yeah, I totally agree. Now, one question I know a lot of investors have, and there's no real good answer about this, is what type of orders do you use when placing stocks, like market orders, limit orders, trailing stop orders, things like that?
So, in my penny stock strategy, I'm a limit order kind of guy. I find that if I'm using a limit order, I can get a better price than if I use a market order, which most people know. But a lot of people fail to actually use it in the way that a lot of experienced traders do. A lot of people will just put it at a random price, their limit buy. A random price, say it's 10 cents less than what their $5 stock is right now, and think, oh, it should dip to there, which that might work for you. And that's not a bad way of doing it because you're going to get a better price than what it's at now. But if you go and you analyze a chart, or if you analyze a chart, then you'll most likely find what support it's bouncing off of, whether it's a moving average, a Bollinger Band, what it's bouncing off of, and then you can almost accurately determine. I mean, you can never accurately determine, but you can throw an educated guess out to where it's going to dip to. And in my opinion, that's where I get those jump starts on a swing, where if I can catch a 3% dip and then it shoots right back up because it bounced off support, I'm already up 3% on my money. I only need 7% more to start to feel good about scaling out. And with that said, also, I can also put, instead of a stop loss in, shout out to Dan Didi at Dips. He mentioned this before, spread the knowledge. I've been doing this for a little while too. You put a limit buy in at a place where you would want to maybe like sell your stock, you'd think about selling it. And if you put a limit buy in, because most of the time it's going to tap your stop loss and then it's going to go back up unless it's a stop loss raid. And so a majority of the time I'll have a limit buy set at a price where I would be thinking about putting a stop loss in, and then I'll get a perfect average that I love, and it will come back up within the day, within the next week, and then I'm making even more money than I would have in the first place. With that
Yeah,
said, I do use market orders if I'm okay. So every trader's a dumbass every once in a while. Every trader gets a little bit of FOMO. Every trader wants to
definitely,
chase the hype a
definitely.
little bit. So that's when I use market. Usually it's when I'm being stupid. Is when I see something come out and or someone tweets something that's big news and I didn't see it first, but I'm like, damn, I think this can go a little further. I want a quick penny. I want a quick however much I'm gonna make. Or man, this could really help my $500 account if I can get a quick 10 or 20%. I got $300 of buying power on there, and so I'll market order it and then I'll use up a day trade to get out of it as soon as I can. But market orders usually are not what I go towards.
Yeah, they can be pretty crazy if you set them during times of high volatility. You can end up paying a lot more than what a limit
Yeah.
order would do for you if you just want to wait just a tiny bit.
Yeah, and then you wanted me to talk about trailing stop losses.
Yeah, yeah, or just your sell strategy.
Okay, so okay, yeah. So my sell strategy in general is I'm a big percentage seller kind of guy. If it's just based on a swing trade that I'm kind of just wanting a 20%, 30%, if I'm thinking that's the max that I'm going to get out of it, my max reward, then I'm going to start scaling out at 10% and then looking to get a dip back down to 7% and maybe put some of that back in. So on a normal stock, what I will do is say we're talking about VTGN over the last few days. So I'll buy in and I'll watch it go up. I'll watch it go up and it'll climb 5, 6, 7. And then once it taps 10, I start looking to sell off some of my position and reposition at a better percentage, which I don't know if a lot of people do this. I know a lot of people like to sell all of it at once because they don't want to sit there and watch their phone all day. But I found that this crunches the numbers for me. And if you have a bigger account, it ends up being bigger numbers, which is wonderful. And so I'll wait until it hits that 10 to 12%. And if I can get it to 12, then I'll sell say 25 to 50% of my position. And then after I sell that 25% or 50% of my position, I'll be watching for a dip because then I got a little free shares in there. I got some free shares. If I can get it down to 8% and I think it's going to come back up, or if I think it's going to bounce off of something, then I can set a limit order at what I think is going to bounce off of, catch it at 7%, catch it at 8%, and then it's going to bounce, come back up to 10%, and I just got some free shares out of that, selling at 10 to 12, buying back in at 8. And majority of the time, that's what I'll do. And then I'll keep scaling out at 15, at 20, and keep trying to reposition at a better amount or a better percentage. And most of the time, I end up getting a decent chunk from that, a decent 5 to 8% more gains than I would have. And majority of the time, if it's a swing like VTGN, I'm looking to get completely out by 20% because I've been scarred way too many times from trying to hold for that final 25 or that final 30 and then ending with 3% gains that I could have had 20. So I'm looking to get out by 20 or 25 for sure. And then I'll look to reposition unless it's a stock like AVCT where I just can't fathom selling my shares for less than what they are worth. I just can't see it. And then that's when I will set a trailing stop loss or set something that's going to get my shares out, but to where I'm still going to get some more gain out of it because I can see a lot more gain. Another example of a trailing stop loss that I've used recently was DMPI. DMPI, I called on my Sunday watch list, I think, and got in Monday about 110. And it slowly climbed to 120, 126, 130. And I was like, okay, let me think about the catalyst here. It's a merger news on Friday. So I'm thinking about it. I'm like, okay, so there's some hype around it, but is it sustained? We don't know what the merger news is going to be. We don't know. There's a bunch of unknowns. So I couldn't really see it being a sustained run up past about 130, 140. So when it hit 140, I was like, okay, this is where I need to start thinking about selling. But then I was like, I don't have that many shares. Why don't I just throw a trailing stop loss on it? And because I don't think it's staying above 140 or 150 for too long. And then lo and behold, it got up to about 153 and then dropped and hit my 5 or 6% trailing stop loss. And I made more than I would have popping it all out at 140. But I still, I still sold them all, which was nice at like 147, 148, something like that. So that was one instant where trailing stop loss really helped me.
Yeah, I know. I definitely like to use trailing stop losses. You really, I hate limiting the amount of gain that you can get, and I also
Exactly.
like I look at my phone a lot, but just being there constantly waiting for that pop, that's just takes a lot out of you.
Yeah, exactly. And also the trailing stop loss is like extremely, extremely nice if you're in a situation where you don't know how much your stock is actually worth and you're just kind of playing it based on hype and you're
Yeah,
like, wow, I see a lot of people in this stock. I see a lot of people liking it. And then if you can put a trailing stop loss and then when the hype ends, you don't have to try to gauge that based on Twitter, based on how many buys are coming in, based on how many people are like snapping up these resistance walls, how many people are doing this and that. You can just kind of let the market do itself and you can just, oh, I sold at a good price, and then it drops 20% more, and I didn't have to worry about that.
Yeah, I know on our website, a lot of investors, or almost no investors, post when they're going to sell a stock. So we actually have to determine that for ourselves on our website. Um, and one of the ways we did it is that we actually built a tool that will simulate a lot of different selling strategies and then determine which strategy is the best. And a trailing stop loss for almost every investor resulted in the highest return percentage overall.
Wow, that's awesome. I haven't.
Yeah,
You'll have to show me some more of this or give me some more numbers because that's cool.
yeah, it's pretty incredible.
That's
So
awesome. Yeah, I have debated posting more about when I'm selling. I post a little bit about when I'm thinking about getting out or if I'm gonna hold through a catalyst, but I do if I start giving too many price targets or start telling people when I'm going to get out of stocks, then it gets to almost I'm trading for them. And I do want people to learn how to like figure out when to scale out, when to re-enter. But it would definitely help a lot of people if they could have a little better idea of when to get out, because a lot of people end up bag holding on a lot of things in the penny
yeah,
stock world.
it's all about managing risks, and I think
Exactly.
yeah, trailing stop or just a stop loss is those are great ways to do it.
Yeah, I would agree.
Now I know you've mentioned this on your Twitter a little bit, but if you could talk about it here too, about what programs you use to trade with.
Yeah, so I use Webull. Um, I just like how it works. I like the interface. I like all of the types of orders it has. I like all of the yeah, I just like how it looks. I like how I can personalize my chart, unlike certain things like Robinhood where you can't do any of that, where you can't do basically hardly anything on Robinhood. You can't really set up a screener. You can set up a screener on Webull. It's smooth. It doesn't have as much of interface issues as other like E-Trade has some rocky days in it. Same with TD Ameritrade. Webull doesn't have quite a bit as much of that, and yeah, I just like it. I do have like a Robinhood account that I set some long-term stocks in and just don't look at very much. And I do have a TD Ameritrade account where I do a little here and there, but most of my stuff is done on Webull.
Yeah, I mean, we my main portfolio is also in a Webull, just because they give you so many more options, and I really don't like when Robinhood goes down and you can't exit out of
Exactly. Yeah.
position. That is just terrible. But
Yep.
Robinhood's been really good, and also they give you the extended hours, right? I mean, I
Yeah.
can wake up at 4 a.m., right, and already be trading. I don't have to wait. I don't
Yeah.
have to.
Sometimes I can hit my price target for the day in my big account by pre-market, and then for the rest of the day I can just focus on my swing account, my little one, which is awesome. I completely love when I catch a runner in the morning and then don't have to worry about the big account the rest of the day.
Yeah. I also have a. Do you have an OTC account? Do you trade OTC stocks?
I do not. I've been thinking about it. I've been thinking about getting into it. I've seen a lot of guys doing it, and it seems to be cool and seems to be a good way to make some money. I just haven't had the time in my life to open up that whole new realm of different stocks, to be completely honest.
Yeah, OTC stocks are so risky. I mean, they can drop to zero like nothing.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
yeah, but cool, cool. I'm glad that you also use Rob or Webull. It's definitely a
Yeah,
great app in my opinion. Especially
I
their
love it.
not only their mobile app, but their web app too is also really good.
Yeah, I love just it's also just nice to have all of the options they have for the computer just sitting there on my laptop
Yeah,
or sitting there and just watching it and it's wonderful.
yeah. Now, let's talk about some more specific stocks that you've bought before. So, a few months ago, you posted that you bought Whole Earth Brands. It used to be ticker ACTT, and now it's FREE. But since then, they've dropped quite a bit in price. Do you still believe that it's a good company to invest in? And has your thesis about this company changed?
Yeah, so I'll preface it. I'll give a kind of a summary. I bought into this stock, well, after doing DD. It was a SPAC at the time, ACTT. I bought in, I think, at the low 10s, and then it dipped into 9s, so I got some at 9s. And then it went up to 11 here and there, and I kind of sold some there, made a little bit of profit. But then in the end, I think my average was a little bit over 10, like 10.05 or something. And now it's sitting at 765. And I completely stop lossed out of this position. Disclaimer to anyone listening. I completely stop loss somewhere in the high 8s, I believe, a little over 10%. And I'm going to get back in eventually, though. Completely 100% certain I'm going to get back in. And my reasoning for that is I think this is a great growth stock. They have a ton of connections, and also they're going to be in a sector that's getting pushed for the next few years. It'll be a great long-term profile or long-term portfolio stock for me. I see the health push with obesity, and it's a sugar replacement using plant-based, and they also have connections with PepsiCo. Their CEO is from PepsiCo, and they already provide a product for PepsiCo, and we could see even more interaction in the future. Also, they're releasing a lot of products worldwide this year. They plan on producing new products and releasing them worldwide, which I see as a great growth and revenue, new revenue stream. I think why they botched the whole merger, I'm not sure how it happened. I'm not sure what happened, but statistically, most SPACs do go down after a merger before they go up. So I kind of expected a little bit of it, but I didn't expect it to go down to the $7 range. But they botched the merger. The platforms did. It took a couple platforms like 3 or 4 days to be able to trade it, which created extreme emotional trading by some people who didn't quite understand what was going on, and they sold it off and then hit some stop losses, hit some more. And before we knew it, my stop loss was hit and we were in the $8 and $7. And also, they don't really have any real numbers out, which is the same situation we're in with AVCT. They don't have any real numbers out for revenue, for cash flow, for cash burn for this new company that they've created. So in my opinion, they're a great growth stock that's going to come up as soon as they release some numbers, as soon as they release their sales, and as soon as their products are actually seen by everyone with their new packaging, Whole Earth brands on it, and everyone says, okay, this is a really great sugar replacement company that I'm going to see in restaurants. I'm going to see used in Mountain Dew, Pepsi, Diet Coke eventually. And I think that it will come back up. I am going to be buying it as soon as I find a catalyst, as soon as I find a good date on earnings. I'll be having some of this in my long-term portfolio.
Nice. Yeah, I know a lot of people. If they stop loss out of a position, they no longer follow that stock. They have like negative feelings about it. But that's really interesting that you continue to follow them and your thesis hasn't changed and you're ready to get back in. That's incredible.
Yeah, it's still on my watch list on Webull completely.
Yeah, really cool.
So
Now,
I've
go
been
ahead,
kind of sitting here, sweating because I'm kind of scared, I'm kind of worried. Do we have to worry about you stealing our girl?
Oh man. Well,
I'm
with
also
all the
worried.
things well, I'm stealing you, Matthew. With
Oh
all the
my.
things with all the things going on Twitter right now, last week I would have had a really funny response to this, but for now, I'm only stealing girls with consent and only sliding into DMs with consent. And the only hole I will be filling is the place in my girl's heart, and other ones if with consent. But that's a completely different talk for another day.
Yeah, I would just like to say everyone at the earnings board completely agrees with that statement.
Yes,
Now,
consent is king, and no harassment, ladies and gentlemen.
Consent is the word of the day.
okay. Now tomorrow we will be having Yates investing on. When one of the things we're definitely going to talk with him about is IDEX. What do you think about IDX?
Okay, so IDEX, I am a big fan of their business plan and where they fit in the EV realm, electric vehicle realm, and I really do like the company. For anyone who doesn't know, it's a company that's focusing on helping China transition to electric vehicles and helping them transition to electric vehicle infrastructure. And I do like all of the contracts and deals they have. I completely love how they have the NTS deal for EV buses. I love how they're getting government subsidies. I love how they have a 10-year deal with Mobile Energy Group. Um, Completely love all of those things. I made a lot of money off IDEX the first time. It went from $1 to $2. I took a lot of profit. It went from $2 to $3. I took a lot of profit, and then I bought back in, lost some of that profit when the Hindenburg report came out. And we can talk a little bit about the Hindenburg report. They
Yeah,
based their
please.
report saying that IDEX is a scam due to the fact that they've had 6 CEOs, 6 CFOs, 4 company names, and 10 board members. I haven't deep dove into that at all. But in my opinion, if a company is succeeding now based on their values, based on their contracts they have, based on all of the things that they've signed on the dotted line, then I don't think you can come back and say, well, the things they did in the past make them a scam. Which Hindenburg, historically known for shorting a stock after coming out with a report about a scam or about a fraudulent company. I really, really think that they were kind of grasping at straws a little bit here. IDEX, I think that they were kind of grasping at straws. IDEX, there's really, really bad trader psychology around IDEX now, really, really bad sentiment about it now, which that's the reason that I won't be getting back into IDEX for a little while unless something big comes out. But Hindenburg just really, really made IDEX bite the dust for that run up that they were having.
Yeah, what I really think that a lot of investors don't know is that Hindenburg Research makes money if the ideonomic stock price goes down.
Exactly.
So
Yeah,
it's
I
in
don't
their
think enough
best
people
interest
realize that. Yeah.
to say whatever they can to make the stock price go down. And I mean you could take with that what you will, but it's we don't know. And we'll also
Yeah.
talk about Yates tomorrow about this too.
I think there's a lot of people out there who understand the fact that people who pump a stock upwards make money on the stock, but don't realize that people who push the stock down also make money by pushing it down. So if you see something completely outlandish by a big name or a big company or a big fund or a big suit company, and you're like, wow, that seems really, really odd, aka Hindenburg coming out with all of these claims, it's because they're making money off of it and they're pushing it down or pushing it up to completely make money off of it. And you guys need to realize you're probably going to fall victim to it on the wrong end of it. And yeah, it's sad all of the bag holders that we have because of the Hindenburg report on IDEX. It
Yeah,
actually upsets me quite a bit that they came out with that at a peak where the price action was already a little bit maybe overextended, and then they just completely preyed on it, and a lot of investors lost a ton of money.
yeah, that was I definitely hit my stop loss there.
Me too.
I know, yeah, I know almost all my friends that were investing, they got they got hit hard by IDEX. It's really sad. But
Yeah, it's just yeah.
yeah, I my personal opinion is I still believe in the stock a lot. I mean, their revenue, I think 100x since their last quarter, and their stock price is lower than what it was before. It A lot of it doesn't make sense. So
Yeah, I believe in their business plan and all the contracts they have are the two big things for me. Is I actually enjoy both of those, and once we get over this little dip of people hating IDEX, I think we'll see some steady growth again, which I'll hopefully be in on for.
yeah, I completely agree. Well, that was our last question. If you have anything else you want to tell the viewers, Ted,
Um, yeah, I got a couple words I can say
yeah,
to
go
them real
ahead.
quick. So first off, I just want to say that all of my Twitter followers and anyone who sees me, anyone who has any questions for me, anyone who needs anything from me, I'm going to be there for you guys. So if you are struggling with something trading wise, if you're down big percentage, if you're struggling finding a trader psychology that works for you, my DMs are open. I open them about once a week to once every 3 days so that I can manage that I can respond to as many of them as I can during that time frame. So my DMs will be open. If you guys are struggling in the market, in the stock world, or if you're struggling in your personal life, I'm always willing to talk. I'm always willing to be there. Um, and one last thing for advice, I want to say patience and trust yourself. Patience, you'll find you'll make more money on trusting something over the time, trusting something over the swing time frame you had, and just trusting the process of a stock and the market correcting its value. You'll make more money on that than you will trading one stock one day and another stock another day, another stock another day to try to get these tiny gains here and there and here and there and here and there while losing here and there and here and there and here and there because you're trying to trade price action. And trust yourself. I'll say that because there's a lot of people out there who are trying to benefit themselves in the market, and you're your self's best tool. Your brain, your knowledge can get you anywhere if you put the work in, if you put the time in. Growing your knowledge will bring you the DD, will bring you the money, but most importantly, will just bring your confidence up. That's the biggest thing for me is AVCT. I'm so confident on it because it has speculated or should have $1 billion revenue for the year and it's trading at 133. But regardless of that, knowing your stock, knowing that you've done the work, done the time, and that no one else is leading you in your way, in your trading journey, will get you the most confidence and ultimately probably make you the most money. I love all of you guys. And just remember, I'm here for you. DM me, respond to my Twitter, and let's keep making money.
Yeah, that I know everybody in the investing community has tremendous respect for you. You're one of the investors that I believe keeps it real.
Thank
And
you. Thank you very much.
yeah,
That means a lot.
I've personally, in full disclosure, have made a decent amount of money off of you, and I just think
That's
that
what I like
you're
to hear.
incredible for helping all these investors. And I would just like to say, it means the world to me that you came on the first episode of our podcast.
What a simp.
Amazing.
What a
For
simp.
sure,
Oh
man.
my. You
I
guys
see
heard it
you're,
here. Matthew is a simp.
dude. He's a slappy for sure, Matthew.
Oh yeah, for
But
sure.
thank you for the kind words, man. It means a lot. It means a lot to have gotten where I am here today, and also just to be your choice to be the first one on the podcast. It means a ton to me.
Yeah, I mean, everybody here has so much respect for you and everything that you do, and all the research that you do, and the TED Talks, and just your whole all the memes you post, and just the way you go about it. It we all love it here. So thank you so much. I think we're gonna end the podcast here. Tomorrow
Alrighty.
we will be having Yates Investing on, and if anyone wants to go see that. Um, so yeah, have fun,
So,
make money, let's get rich.
Yep.
Yep. Thank you for having me on.
Matthew and Teddy are going to go make out consensually. And
Okay,
we
we're
will
gonna
see you
cut
guys
that.
tomorrow.